In this assignment, we'll be using Google Sheets to create a calendar, a planner, or a goal tracker. You will choose a 12-month calendar, a weekly planner, or a goal-setting page. The requirements will be that you create one layout with a title or a heading. You will use subheadings. You will have lines and or borders. It will include a headline and a body font. You will need a coordinating color scheme, which we'll get into later on when we open Sheets, and all information will need to be inside your margins and making sure that nothing gets cut out. For the title or heading, that would be on a calendar, that would be August here for your title. Subheadings would be like the 2016 and then your days. Your lines or borders would be your lines for your days. The headline and body font would be the headline for your month, and then the body font would again be your days. On the headline font, you can do something a little bit fancier, and then your body font needs to be fairly simple. Here on August, you have a little bit of a script, but if you look at this example with our daily habit tracker, you have one that's a little bit more curly. So you would not want to use this for your body font. You would want your body font down here for your habits. You would want that to be fairly simple, like motivation right here. When you are selecting your project, you want to think about a few things. One of them would be difficulty. You might like something like this one right here. It has a bunch of different goals. The best year, 3 places I want to go, two ways I can help others. But is that something that you really want to try to do over the next week? Some of you, sure, you should try it, but will you have time to actually finish it? So that is what I want you to think about as you are looking for your calendars. So number 1, think about difficulty. Number 2, very important, is will you actually use it? Will you use your monthly calendar? Would you use a weekly planner, or would you use a goal tracker? I really want you to actually use these things, print them off and use them. So as you're looking around, keep that in mind. Can you print in color? We won't be able to print in color here in school. So can you take it home and print this project in color? If you make it in color, will it work if it's not in color? Like this example, you have the pink, blue, and green. If it's not in color, it'll still make sense. So it's not going to hurt if it doesn't end up being printed in color. So those are just some of the things that I want you to think about when you are selecting your project and you're looking out on Google. When you're searching for examples of calendars, you're going to go to google.com and search for images of, and I wouldn't just do images of calendars, I would do images of something like Neat Monthly Calendar, so that you get something more than just a square calendar. Go to images and scroll through and start looking at layouts that you might want to make for your own project. Once you find one that you might like to recreate, you can click on it, right click, save image as, and then don't leave it as this long description. Save it as like calendar or cal. Save it on your desktop and hit enter or save. If you don't find something that you like there, you can also do, I know guys, I'm sorry, but you can do cute monthly calendar. And even if you don't like the stuff that's on top, these have a little bit more of a design to it. You could do, let's try to see if basic comes up with anything. There's some stuff. So just kind of look around and see what comes up. You can also do image of goal tracker. So there's some goal trackers that you can look through. So look through Google Images and find some examples, and this is what you're going to base your project off of. There are several ways that we can get to Google Sheets, but we're going to go through Google Drive. So we're going to go up here to the blue button and hit New and go to Google Sheets. Once it opens, just like normal, we usually want to go up here and give the Untitled Spreadsheet a name. Since we're just looking at stuff, I'm going to go ahead and skip that step and go on down here. All of these boxes are called cells. This is what makes up our spreadsheet. Then we have columns and rows. Our columns are letters and our rows are numbers. The first thing that we'll look at is how to resize these. If you go up in between your columns, you'll see that your cursor changes to arrows. And if you click and drag, you can resize those. When you're resizing things, you do not want to just keep resizing manually because you'll end up with stuff that are different sizes. So when you are resizing for projects, what you want to do is get something the size that you want it, and then you'll right click and copy, and then right click and go down to where it says insert, and you'll insert to the left or right whatever you need. In this case it doesn't matter, so I'm just going to pick one, and then you'll see you have the exact same column now. Now if we need to do this a lot, instead of just doing one over and over again, now I'll highlight both of those and do the same thing. Right click, insert to left, and then I'll highlight those 4. Insert 4 left, and then just keep going until I have as many as I need. Same thing for my rows. I can click and drag and make those bigger. So as you're making your grid for your calendar, that's how you're going to make your boxes as big as you need them for your dates. You won't necessarily start off with one big row. You just make it as whatever you need. If you need a small row and then a big row, you make the grid whatever you need to make your document look like your example. So those are your rows and your columns and how to resize those. I'm going to go ahead and undo that so it looks a little bit more normal. And then we're going to come up to our fonts. You guys are used to changing fonts. Here are your fonts. If you go down to the bottom though, this says more fonts, and this is where you can get some more interesting fonts if you scroll down, and this is where you can look for your headline fonts. Your headline fonts are going to be the ones that are designed a little bit more, like Pacifico, Shadows into Light. Those are going to be the ones that are your bigger fonts, and then your fonts like Monda, the ones that are just a little bit easier to read are going to be your secondary fonts or your subheading fonts. So you can look through here and see what you like, get stuff that looks like they go together, and then you can hit OK and you'll be able to type in those. Then you have your size, your bold and italic, which we're used to using. Here you have your text color, and this is where we're going to go to talk about our color scheme. For this assignment, we're just going to use the color that's on the color grid here. What you can do is you can use a column and make your color scheme monochromatic, which means all the same color family, or you can go left and right in the row here. Don't go all over. Keep it in the same row or the same column. So that's how you're going to use the color grid. If you want to make one row or one column a color, what you're going to do is highlight the area that you want, and then you can go to the paint bucket and that is your fill color. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to pick a color, and it will fill in that color. Now you can see all these little squares for your cell, but once we go to print this, all of the blue lines will go away, and those are actually invisible. So those won't matter. To get the lines to matter, what we have to do is again highlight those and then go to this button where it says borders. If you click on that, these are all of your options for your borders. This one is your bottom border, so if I clicked on that, that would give all of these the bottom border, and it looks like I missed that one. So I'll go back and I'll pick that one up, and now I have a bottom border. If I want to, I can change that color. I can go right here and I can go over here, and this changes the border color. So if I wanted to, I could go down and I could make it a darker blue color and then go right here, and that would make my border just a little darker blue. It would be easier to see right here. I can come down and click and now you can see that it's a darker blue color. Here we have our alignment, which you are used to using. If I put Sarah right there and make this a little bit bigger, you can see this would be left align, which it is right now, center, and then left. But if we look at the next one, this is where it is where your text is in the cell with vertical alignment. So if I choose this one, it goes to the top, middle, or bottom. So if I wanted my text right in the middle, I could go middle alignment there and middle here, and it will show up right in the middle. This one we don't use very much, or we won't use in this assignment, sorry, but if we had a whole bunch of text and we wanted it to stay in that one cell, we could go right here and do text wrapping. That is really all that we will be using for your calendar organizer project. You should be ready to start creating your grid for your calendar. Just pull up your example. What I would do is do multi-window right here, pull up your paper, and you can do Control- to come out a little bit, and then have your example if you want to, and have your document on one side and have your example, and start building your calendar. You do want to pay attention to your margins. Your K column is really where you should kind of stay in between, depending on how skinny you make your rows. But kind of use K as your guideline, and then we can look at how your document will print off and where you need to keep your stuff on your page to make sure it doesn't get cut off when you print. Sorry, I lost my words there for a second. So let's go ahead and get started on your calendars, and if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know.